Hey guys, welcome again. I was imaging M45 last night and I had a pretty difficult time gathering the green channel. Let me show you. Let's open the masters from last night so that you can see what happened. So I was imaging 1 hour each channel, LRGB, and in the process I forgot to image the green channel before the moon came up. So as I was imaging, there is an interesting gradient in my image. Let me make these smaller so you can see what I'm talking about. So here we go. The green channel here, which you can see from the filter, which is green, has a gradient in it. It's pretty noticeable actually. This is due to the moon coming up, so the gradient is kind of sideways. Everything else is pretty consistent. This is the red filter, this is the blue filter, and this is the luminous filter. So let's start by making an LRGB combo of these. So these, by the way, have been pre-processed with flats, bias, and dark master frames, and stacked for each individual channels, as I showed you in the previous video how to pre-process, and now we're going to make an LRGB combination out of this. Pretty simple in Prism. Go to color imaging, LRGB combine, and then press OK on here. You can change these values if you want. Press OK. It asks us select the R image, the red channel. So we tell it it's this one. Press OK. Select the green image, this one. Select the blue image. And finally the luminance. So since we pre-processed them, these are aligned already to each other. That's going to make it fairly easy to stack. Here we are. Let's lower the other frames to make the workspace a little bit cleaner. Now, this image has a few problems. Number one, you have the reflections, pretty bad reflections on really bright stars. These are due to my filters. They have reflections, I'm sorry. Pretty bright stars cause pretty significant reflections in the system. Because of the green channel, we have this gradient that's side to side now, and there's a rather strong green cast. You can notice on top also the stacking artifacts because of dithering. So if we brighten up this image using the histogram, sorry, by the way, it's this icon over here, right next to the zoom, in and out, image contrast, and luminosity. So we choose all channels to brighten up everything, and we push to brighten up the image. Now you can see here, these are stacking artifacts as well, and the obvious sides and top. So we'll start by cropping this to get rid of all these issues. So we go up here to the crop button, crop image, press OK, and we go up here to make sure that we dodge the line, the stacking artifact on the right. This looks good. Click, drag to the other side to where you're satisfied. Even the bottom has stacking artifacts. I can see blue down there. So this looks reasonable to me, and click again to crop. Now, this is a pretty bad gradient to get rid of. Now, flats will not correct this because this issue is not coming from your optical system. This is an outside source that caused this diagonal gradient. As anything Prism, we have something for that. So First of all, we need to do a statistical analysis of the image to see what the bright side of the image holds. To us, it just looks green. It's a green cast, but this is just a representation of the data. Now, let's go to the menu Analysis, Statistics, Window Statistics. I'll press F11. So let's go to the bright area and select a decent size square like this. Pick the side that is brightest in the image. You could say that this side is bright, or maybe bound down further to the corner, but this will do for now. So click again. Statistical results of the image. What we're interested in here is the median in the area. So we have the red plane, the green plane, the blue plane. It makes sense that the green plane is the highest one because of the cast we have. So grab a piece of paper and take notes of the median in area for the red channel or red plane, green plane, and the blue plane. Press OK. Now, for this step, to get rid of big problematic gradients like this in your images, you go to Processing, Sky Background Gradient, remove Sky Background Zonal. This pop-up shows up. So now we'll tell it that the window size for Sky Background Estimator in pixels is 100. This is a pretty good value, but feel free to experiment. As far as the red, green, and blue planes from the median area statistical result that we found 2 minutes ago, these are where you put those numbers. I'm trying to round up to the next number. Just be conservative. And press OK when you're done. Now Prism is analyzing the image and trying to understand what this gradient is. Of course, it's very capable of finding the sky background and performing quite complex calculations to make this task easier for us. As you can see from the bottom of the image, this is 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of data, bin one by one, and negative 30C. I'm using a GSO 10-inch RC and an STL 11000 with this. And all the data is down here. My pixel scale is 0.93 arcsecond per pixel. Just for reference. Here's the result of this function. Now let's lower both to be visible in a full screen. Now, to the untrained eye, this gradient makes no sense, but trust me, it does. The data that we see on the right side in the image is just a model of how Prism is displaying the data. And you can change that data with changing the histogram to the way you want. You can make it darker, brighter. You can even increase the channels if you want. But the underlying data has a gradient that looks like this. So we have really bad gradient towards the top and really bad gradient, green gradient at the bottom. And in the middle, it's a little bit evened out. So this is what Prism sees as the problem areas are across the entire image. Now, when you get this model, we need to subtract it from the main image. This is done very easily as well by going to Processing on the top, Image to Image Math, Subtraction. Now it's asking us, which image do you want to subtract from this? Well, we want this image up here. Here's the name on the top of this image, so it's this one. And the graphical representation confirms that it is that image. So press OK. So Prism will subtract that model, the gradient model, from the main image. And this effectively takes out all the problem areas in your image. If you see that it's pretty flat, to convince you, I'm going to increase the brightness of the image. From this image, you can appreciate that the background is quite flat and the nebulosity is unaffected. Also, it's a pretty severe example of a problematic stacked image because of the reflections you see up here. Now, from this point, you can export this image to your favorite post-processing program, Photoshop or else. Or you can keep going in Prism, which is perfectly capable of that. Now, like I said, from this point on, it becomes very subjective. This is the art side where you'd like to make the image just like the way you want or the way you think it would look. So let's do some quick processing. The green channel seems a little bit problematic, so we'll darken it. And this is the output histogram of what the image actually looks like. The red channel seems to be a little bit severe as well, so we'll lower that as well. Okay. I'm going to close the model since we don't need it anymore. Now, to stretch this image, because it's still linear now, to actually stretch it, it's very simple in Prism. One of the ways is to use DDP or Digital Development Processing. So you go to Processing, Digital Development Processing, or you can click this icon button up here. Let's do that. So on the left side is the actual image, and on the right side is the output of the function if we were to apply it. You can also notice some blooming in here because of due to my camera. So let's zoom out and play with the settings to make the image just the way we want. So you can immediately see from here that the green cast is gone. So this button up here, enable automatic display cuts after processing. You can remove this and you can mess with the histogram the way you like, or you can enable it to have Prism automatically get the best display for you. So this is the gamma and this is the sharpness factor. So if you lower the gamma all the way, you'll see the image get brighter. And if you raise it, it's going to get darker. So I think this is good. Sharpness is self-explanatory. You want to sharpen the image. But be careful with this because it's going to create dark halos around bright objects like the bright stars in the image. I think this is good for quick processing. So press OK. And Prism is performing the math in the back to get us the new resultant image. This should not take long at all. Still processing. Here we are. This is the resultant image. Now, if we take the histogram tool and push the actual histogram forward, you'll find that there is a little bit of green gradient, but we can get rid of that real fast by darkening the green channel. Let's push this a little bit further, darken a little bit. I think this is a quite good result from considering what we started from. Before I would just toss the images and try again, but since you have a tool that is this powerful to actually model the background for you, and you saw how easy it was, there was not too much involved in it. We provide the statistical tools and we provide the modeling tools. To convince you how good this result is, let me open the first image and we can compare to see how we progressed from that starting point. This is what we started from, and this is where we ended up at. This is quite an outstanding result considering how many problems we started with. I'm sure you can salvage a lot of pictures that you have in your possession just with this tool. This offers you a new insight into what you can do with Prism as far as more advanced tools that are available in the professional and advanced versions. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this gives you a new horizon on the on what you can do with the data you have, or maybe if you're in the future image and the moon is up a little bit, and within reason, this tool can be fairly effective to reduce issues in your images, and allows you to keep more and more images and keep imaging longer and longer during the month, even if the moon is present. Now you can always take this image and export it by going to File, Export to, and we offer you a few file formats where you can take this to another program and keep going. Feel free to do that. But as far as Prism goes, we have all the tools you need. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helps you with your imaging adventures. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. There's the forum, the website, emails, and so on. Enjoy your day. Clear skies to you, and I thank you very much.